Thank you, Elsie Bates. This is City Housing Hamilton Shareholder Meeting, August 10th, 2022. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Members of the public are advised that our meetings are live streamed by the City of Hamilton and temporarily archived on the city's website. Other individuals and the media may also be audibly and or visually recording this meeting. Members are reminded of the 5-minute time limit, which will be adhered to during this meeting. Members can submit another request to speak if they require more time to ask questions or make comments. So we do have quorum. I see Councillor Clark in chambers, Councillor Farr, Councillor Vanderbeek, Mayor Eisenberger, Councillor Partridge, Councillor Jackson, Councillor Wilson, and Councillor Nan. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Mr. Deputy Mayor, there are no changes to the agenda. However, some additional information, background information for item 11.1 has been published with the agenda.
Thank you. So I need a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Vanderbeek, seconded by Councillor Farr.
Not able to log in right now, but you'll have to take manual votes from me at the moment.
So I see affirmative from Mayor Eisenberger, Councillor Jackson, Councillor Powers, and Councillor Farr. If everybody else can vote electronically.
I thought I did.
Yes, I have your vote now. The results are coming, and it carries unanimously.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? Councillor Vanderbeek.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chair. Not a declaration of interest, but a notification that I have to leave this meeting at 12:15. I have an off-site meeting at 12:30, and I have to be back for Public Works at 1:30. So sorry, but I do have to leave the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Seeing no declarations of interest, we are on approval of the minutes. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, so I need a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Moved by Councillor Farr, seconded by Councillor Clark. An affirmative from Councillor Farr, Councillor Powers.
Mayor Eisenberger, how are you voting? Thumbs up, thank you. That vote is closed and carries 10-0.
Thank you. On to item 11.1, shareholder resolutions. I need a mover and a seconder to put this on the floor. Councillor Farr and Mayor Eisenberger. Is there any discussion on 11.1? So I'm seeing, hang on. So Councillor Farr, I have you on the speakers list. I'm sorry, I might have missed if anybody else waved there.
I think the best, most efficient way is to go directly to Mike Zagaric. This is a shareholder meeting as a direct result of the CMHC renege, which is Canada-wide and affects directly two ongoing projects, one in the amount of 4.6 million, the other 800,000. With the appropriate wording that's here today, we'll be able to keep things on track and address through CHH the housing crisis appropriately as best we can. So through you to Mike Zagaric, best to just sum it up for the shareholders what we're doing with respect to solving the issue of the shortfall that was just recently created and caught us all off guard by the debt financing plan that you have before us.
General Manager.
Through the chair, city staff have been working with City Housing Hamilton staff to understand the financial challenges City Housing Hamilton have, more specifically with respect to proceeding with the development on 55 Queenston Road. given the funding shortfall, I believe of $4.6 million with respect to the Queenston Road development, our recommendation was to proceed to the shareholder meeting today to seek the approval of the shareholder as is required under Article 5.9 of our shareholder agreement, in that City Housing Hamilton must apply to the shareholder as it relates to any debt. And so that is the purpose for the meeting today, is to address the funding shortfall as it relates to the Queenston Road. With respect to the Bay Canyon development and the shortfall of $800,000, that is not as time sensitive as the Queenston Road development. So continuing on with discussions with senior levels of government, and a hope that senior levels of government will help to address the $800,000 funding shortfall or pressure with respect to that development. If that is not successful, then I expect City Housing Hamilton will reach out again to the shareholder for a discussion with respect on how to proceed with that project and address the funding shortfall. So the time sensitivity is as it relates to 55 Queenston Road, the additional funding of $4.6 million, and more specifically, the ask of the shareholder for the shareholder to approve an additional $4.6 million in debt. What we would report back after further consultation with City Housing Hamilton staff is who will service that debt. So after we've had discussions with the capacity of City Housing Hamilton to service that debt, if they do not have the financial capacity to service that debt, then the city would reflect that debt as a city obligation, as the city is the sole shareholder of City Housing Hamilton. So through the chair, I hope that summary is helpful to committee shareholders. Happy to answer any questions.
Very helpful, and thank you for all your help leading up to this, Mike. Just the one comment on Bay, it's a Ward 2, almost a parochial thing, but between now and ratification, I intend to change the whereas, because it almost reads like, and I'm glad Mike mentioned it, that it's not as urgent, but the reality is it's an improved project that's associated with Jamesville, which we dealt with at Planning Committee yesterday, and approved by CHH board. So it is proceeding. So it's not stalled in any way. It's moving forward without delay. That's just a wordsmith thing that I can change. I won't do that now on the fly. I was thinking about an amendment today. I can do that before any ratification, should everything be accepted here. We do have, as president of City Housing Hamilton, Rochelle, our treasurer, our accountant on board here today, as well as Ed Vanderwint, interim CEO, and Sean Botham, our director of planning. Other than that, I don't need to read. I'd be happy to move this, but I don't think I need to read, Mr. Chairman, all the whereases and therefores, because Mike had a very good explanation there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there any further discussion on the resolution before us? Not seeing any. I'm just going to ask a quick question. These two projects were approved in 2018 with applications in 2020. I'm not familiar with, as was described, the CMHC reneg. So what led to them clawing back or not following through with the funding?
Sean Botham, Manager of Development. Happy to speak to this. So CMHC had a program change in May of this year, and it pertained to the funding stream of the co-investment fund, which we had multiple applications in process for. And you're correct, those applications had been in for almost 2 years for these two projects, and we'd been working continually with CMHC. But this program change decoupled the cost of the projects from the funding commitment from CMHC. So instead of a percentage base, which we were counting on, it became a capped amount. So this was an unannounced change, and it was applicable to projects already in queue. In fact, our projects are weeks away from construction start, and it was applicable to them.
Okay, thank you. I guess I should have handed over the chair, but that answers the question. If there's no further discussion, we'll go to a vote on the resolution. It was moved by Councillor Farr, seconded by Mayor Eisenberger. See affirmative from Councillor Powers, Councillor Farr.
And that carries 10-0.
Thank you. And that leads to adjournment. Moved by Councillor Farr, seconded by Councillor Partridge. Oh, sorry, Councillor Partridge. Did you have something to say, or you just lunchtime?
No, I'm just overly excited. To second, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you at Public Works.
Thank you, Chair. Great job.
And naturally that carries. Thank you.
Anytime.
And every